and that is what's going on up in Canada with the Canadian trucker boycott that's taking place. They've moved a bunch of trucks, and it's so funny to watch the news stories. Like, I've got over 100 trucks. Yeah, well, they do have over 100 trucks, that's for sure. They got more like, it's supposedly, the numbers that I'm seeing are thousands of trucks. I'm seeing 10 to 20,000 trucks in this entire convoy. But you hear the news say, well, they've got over 100 trucks in downtown Ottawa. And what they've done, the truckers have pulled all their 18-wheelers into downtown Ottawa, Canada, which is the seat of the Canadian government. And they've also lined up at the border crossing in Alberta, which is a border crossing into Montana in the U.S., and this protest originally started because they were protesting the Canadian government's mandates for cross-border truckers to have vaccines, before coming into the U.S. and being able to cross the border with their goods and services both directions. So that apparently is going to knock out the ability of a bunch of truckers to actually run those cross-border routes. And then you flip to what are the politicians saying about it. I find this so ironic. I watched a little bit of the Ottawa City Council just the other day, just this weekend, who, by the way, just completed 2 straight years of terrorizing and torturing their own citizens with COVID propaganda, mask and vaccine mandates, and lockdowns, right? This is this group. And so after 8 days of a trucker convoy sitting in downtown Ottawa, they are saying, and you can watch the city council meeting, and I'm quoting here, they're saying it is an occupation. The city is under siege. The truckers are terrorizing residents and torturing them with incessant honking. You got to love that line. They're torturing them with incessant honking. And that because this convoy is shutting down businesses and because people can't go anywhere, it's a threat to the Canadian democracy. I mean, is anybody missing the irony here? I mean, is this lost on anyone? 8 days of a shutdown and essentially a lockdown, and all of a sudden that is threatening Ottawans' democracy? I thought it was supposed to take 2 weeks or 15 days to slow the spread. I mean, we're only halfway through with 8 days down. Meanwhile, you've got Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, a.k.a. Fidel Castro Jr., who has fled the scene as a coward and is hiding in a secure, undisclosed location with a full security detail. And, of course, you heard the whole controversy. By the way, when I say he's Fidel Castro Jr., I'm only joking. I don't know that that's a confirmed fact. But I'll tell you, if you do the picture where it's half Fidel Castro as a young man and half Justin Trudeau at his age, I mean, it looks like it's the same exact picture, and I mean exact. So who knows what really happened? I did look into that at one point, and I think we covered it here on the show. And I think some of the timing was a bit off, supposedly, for that to actually be the case. But, man, if you put those two pictures side by side, I mean, he's the spitting image of a young Fidel Castro. But just quickly, wanted to touch on the GoFundMe issue. You know, GoFundMe had received $9 million donated to that Canadian trucker convoy, and they then decided they weren't going to give it to the convoy. They were thinking about giving it to the Ottawa City Council. They decided not to do that. They were thinking about giving it to other random charities, and there was such an uproar, including by Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, who said that he's going to look into GoFundMe for deceptive and unfair trade practices and fraud in taking people's donations and then basically trying to steal them and repurpose them, that GoFundMe determined that they would just automatically refund those donations. You can now give to the convoy on GiveSendGo. That's the place where you can give.
Did you guys see that the police are now arresting anybody assisting the truckers?
I saw reports of that they're trying to do that. I mean, because those trucks have to have constant fuel brought in and stuff like that. So now we're seeing, the police presence. And, I mean, it's even been talked about using the military against these truckers. And, again, listen to the language from the Ottawa City Council. It's an occupation. The city's under siege. I think I heard the term insurrection. There's a lot more there to dig into. Well, folks, we had an out there for you. It doesn't look like we're going to get to it. Can't do it justice in the time we've got left, but we'll bring it back to you next week. Thanks for listening, folks. I'm Morgan Streetman, and that's the way I see it. Thank you for listening to the Morgan Streetman Show. We hope you enjoyed what you heard, and if you did, please click like and subscribe to help us out. And remember that we recommend that you exercise your brain at least once a week.